Okay, let's see here. Okay, we got X. X is on. Facebook is on. And YouTube is on. So I'm gonna click this. Boom. And double check. Okay, there we are. Yeah, we're good. All right. Let's see. Boom, boom. And I'll just open up the Facebook and YouTube to see comments. All right. Okay. So here we are, coffeeed up, prepared. We have all our Ascension survival kit, coffee, coconut, water, carbonated water. That's about it. And we have episode number 009, which is a very important number. I was born on the 9th of December, and nine's
Oh,
huge.
wow.
Yeah, nine's huge. Morgan's nines all over. I'm 11, 9, 11, 11, 9.
Mm,
There's a lot going on. I just want to be open because I've been talking about this. I don't know what this space is that I'm inviting or initiating with others like you. But what I figured out yesterday, I think through a show that canceled, and then I had my friend Denise kind of interview me, was that it's a space that we enter where we don't know what the hell's going to happen. We have no agenda. Um, we're just showing up like we've been doing all these years, and we're in a different place here in 2025. So thank you for coming in and sharing this space with me and exploring this space with me in the depths of our personal experience and our collective experience in this maddening rush of downloads and transmissions and codes, and simultaneously the death of all of our identities, which perhaps are our
it's a good
greatest
thing.
shadows, right? Perhaps our
Yeah.
identities are our greatest shadows.
Hmm.
And in the let's just say in the context of expanding our souls and our multidimensionality, maybe our multidimensionalities and our human being as we bring it into one voice and share it, it's the most powerful code and offering we can offer the universe and each other and ourselves. Thank you for coming in, Bella.
Lovely.
I'm not sure if I can pronounce your last name, but Bella sounds good to me.
Yeah.
Um,
It's Mulcahy. That's my uh
well,
well, Facebook deleted my original account, so this is my Facebook take two.
Facebook takes two.
Yeah,
Um,
the first one just completely boom went.
so you're in Australia, right?
I am, yes, I'm in the Gold Coast.
Gold Coast. What part?
Surfers Paradise, believe it or not. I'm originally from Melbourne. I always feel like I need to say
That's
this
where
part.
Morgan's from Melbourne
Oh, yes. And how is
originally.
beautiful
Yeah.
Morgan? She's recovered from, she was going through some things recently.
She's doing the work in the typical intense way that she does, and those like her. Yeah. I mean, the body and all the other bodies to the light body and in between seem to be going through this together. And, for
Yep.
some it looks one way, for some it looks the other. It could be mental, emotional, physical, all of the above, etc. But she's
Mm.
doing very well. She's
It's good.
doing well. Now,
Yay.
I think part of the basis of this space is to include anything that's very recent or whatever it is that's relevant to this happening right now. So I
Hmm.
went and looked at, I didn't realize you lost your Facebook account, although I think you told me that in an email because you sent me an email and then an instant message. And I went back to the instant message. In the middle of January, you sent me a message and it went to my message requests because we weren't connected. And I looked at it and it spoke of the fruit. So I think Morgan and I, the last time we came on, she spoke of the fruit, the flowering or something like that. And you sent this. And then 2 weeks later, I got the nudge and put it out and you said, hey, let's do a show together. You asked me to come on a couple of years ago, which I can't remember. And that's, kind of where I think maybe we should start. Like, when did we start to come into each other's consciousness? What happened a couple of years ago? Do you remember when I reached out, or Morgan reached out to see if you'd come on Soul Speaks 5D?
Oh, that was my old account. My old account um just had, a huge array of epic beings, like-minded souls that are here to, do the work and expand on a body, mind, and soul level, and here to assist other people that are ready and willing to do the same. Um, and yeah, my old account was just a lot of connecting with a lot of like-minded souls, and I think there was a lot of deep truths, a lot of truth bombs. Some things people were ready for, some people weren't. Especially in the last 5 years of events and things like that. So this is a much more tame account, and I think that's the reason why my last account got shut down, was because of all of that. And yeah, just seeing your episodes and talking to other like-minded, awakened souls, I just really resonated with that. And yeah, I think you asked me, gosh, I've got the worst sense of time. Not a very good sense of time,
Don't we all?
as we
Don't
know.
we all, though?
It's
I
made up
mean,
by man. So
I think we
yeah,
should just accept that part.
yep, yeah.
All these human
That's
parts
the
are all
amnesia
these
we're
human
all
parts are
missing.
leaving us, and I think
Yeah.
we maybe just need to accept it. Okay, so let's start here. So that would have been, let's just say for the context of the
I reckon it's about
conversation.
5 years ago.
Oh, really? 5 years
But I
ago?
was still
Okay,
sort of in hiding mode.
right,
I'm funny. I come in and out of hiding mode. And
right.
you said, I think you're ready to jump on the show, like, you know, get it happening. And I was like, oh no. I was like, I'm not ready. And then just back into cocoon mode. But yeah, I've definitely cracked out of that now. I'm, yeah, I'm ready to get out there on a much bigger scale.
Right. Let's talk about that because I've heard other people, even in the previous 8 shows, talk about that in their own way, in one way or
Yeah.
another, you know. Um, so what I was going to say is, or let me say this to lead into it when I ask you the question.
Mhm.
If you look back 5 years ago, or 2 or 3 or 4 years ago, or 12 years ago to 2012, 2013, there's a lot of stuff that we talked about. There's a lot of
Mm,
things that people pulled in and downloaded and channeled and shared to the best of their ability with the condition of the human ego. You know what I mean? Because it was a
yeah.
lot, and it's been a lot of high level frequencies that went contrary to the conventional bullshit and propaganda movie script, you might say, just to be blunt. But
Yeah. It's a wild ride, the
so
human experience.
so right, exactly. I want to hear it, and that's where this question is leading. So hey, so given that, and I think that's something that we can all relate to, even though our journeys haven't been the same. Now we find ourselves in 2025. And it's almost like everything that we talked about up to the end of the 2024, it's not irrelevant. It it's reference material, but it's hardly even that. It's almost like more of a memory
Mm,
because we're in this new space.
yep.
And when I
Thank
put
God.
the right, we're in this new space and we're coming from a place where there was a lot of downloads and shared transmissions through the multidimensional, however you want to put it, that kind of
Mm,
told us what's going on. And
the
now,
event is happening.
right? And now we're in this space where we don't know what the fuck is going on. Excuse my French, but we
Go
really
for it.
don't. And maybe one of the most powerful things we can do is even contemplate or be open to the fact we may not know anything. And when our identities are dying, that includes these belief systems picked up over the last 12 years through the ways we
Mm,
received our downloads and the identifications we took as a
yep.
result, past lives, specific channels of certain groups, galactics, elemental, etc. So having said that, how do you feel today? And how do you feel today compared to a year ago or 2 years ago in your own space and in your own field?
Um, well, I've had huge changes happen within the last 2 months. 2 months. So it's like in the way of, because I've been connecting a lot more, as you said, with multi-dimensionality of which we are as beings, and we work with many different, guides and beings. I've been connecting a lot more with Yeshua, the main man himself, and Mary Magdalene of late. And I suppose last year, and then in reflection, it was probably even longer than that. Last year for myself was extremely intense, energetically, emotionally. I
Can
felt
we
like
can
I
we
was in this.
can
Yeah,
we dive into that a little bit and
yeah.
then you continue, or would you rather continue then come back to it and kind of go through?
Oh, I can go back and then continue as to
Okay.
the silver linings as to where I am now, which all of that was so uh, divinely
So,
guided, and it all had to happen.
so if
Um,
yes, exactly. I'm with you. I
yeah,
don't, it's in between the words, but so what I'm saying is whether you do it now or come back to it, I really would like to hear another person talk about last year and the things that you just reflected on in terms of,
yeah.
what that experience was like.
Well, I feel because as you know, we are a spiral that goes up. So when we have say different things that have happened on past timelines, even other past lives or past traumas that we think that we've healed, when they come up again, even I myself sometimes get frustrated, going, "Oh, I thought I'd hit this one on the head." The amount of shadow work that you've done, but it's actually just refining and just doing the last little bit of clearing and cleansing so we can like raise up. So last year, I think a lot of it was just boom, like it all just resurfaced once again, which then it was quite, it was intense, and it was a big head fruit, to be honest. I was like, oh wow, I thought I'd cleared all this stuff. Like, how many things do I have to do to clear these things? So it was very heavy in that regard, and I felt like I was stuck on a sort of repetitive loop of lower timeline stuff that I couldn't quite crack the code of or get out
Now
of.
let me interject here because I'm trying to learn and trying to understand. I think maybe that's part of how we figure it out as we look
Yeah.
back and discuss it. So and both are true.
Mm-hmm.
You started by saying that, and I think a lot of people, including myself, can agree with this, that
Yeah.
it's more like a spiral. It's not
Yeah.
so much like a horizontal where you're
We're not going around in
flatlining.
circles.
Yeah, we may
We're
be going
going
around
up.
in circles, but it's going
Yeah.
higher and higher and higher. And then the second part of what you said was, which I think, and I don't know where this goes, but that in 2024, even though we know it's going like this,
Mm,
at times, even today, it feels like it's horizontal and it's plateauing, right? I
yeah.
think if I understand you correctly, that's what you were saying.
Oh wow,
Uh,
you
I'm
disappeared for a
coming back.
hot second.
Yeah, but I think the feeling is the real. Can you hear me? Let's see. Hang on.
Yeah.
Okay, but I think the feeling that you described, like you said in 2024, and I can't remember all the words in detail, but you said you had preface it by, it is a spiral, which I think we can all
Mm,
kind of agree on. And the same thing comes back, but you're at a higher band of frequencies. But that last year, you felt like you were stuck in a loop that was more
mm,
horizontal and plateaued. Can you kind of dive into that? Would you mind?
yeah. Um, and so at the time I was frustrated by that because I was like, I thought that I'd cleared all these things, but it all makes sense. It was like a domino effect of all these different events, which were experiences which I needed for my own soul growth and things for my soul expansion that happened in my timeline to be re-looked at and to be cleared once and for all. So that was it was interesting. I was just like, this is kind of confusing why this is happening, but I was like, well, it's all happening for a certain reason. So I just had to allow myself to sort of sit with it and do all the things that I, have learned over the years of the different types of shadow work.
Yeah. How did you,
Um,
okay, double question.
yeah.
Well, let me be fair to you. Do you feel like that up to 2024, December 2024, which would be 12 years since whatever date you want to choose, December 21st, the Mayan calendar, but I think we can say everything kind of did blow up on 2012, December, let's just say. Do you feel like there's a big difference? You mentioned the last 2 months. I know I feel that way. Others I've talked to. Do you feel like there's a huge difference where that space was and where we are now on the other side?
Remarkably huge.
Okay.
Remarkably huge. I feel like I'm a completely different person on a body, mind, and soul. I feel like I'm reintegrating a whole new aspect, a way of being, a way of feeling within my own body, everything. So I'm not sure if we're going to get into what happened in the last 2 months. We can in dot points, but all those things that happened was another pivotal thing that had to go on that then cleared those domino effects that were happening prior. Then it became a domino effect of good things, and then whew, it just lifted. It lifted and it cleared. It just went, all right, all of that stuff which you've been praying to and doing all the work of letting go of and every type of different healing that I know of has now gone, completed, it's done. And I just feel like my whole body energetically, body, mind, and soul has just, it's renewed. Like I've cracked out of the caterpillar, kind of like this with Mary Magdalene, and she's got a butterfly on the top. Oh, you can't
That's the that's the Virgin of Guadalupe.
Yes.
That's the Virgin of Guadalupe. Here in Mexico, you see that everywhere.
I know. I was thinking you guys should have an online shop to sell all these amazing things because they're kind of hard to find. But I know you're right where it all is. Yeah.
Let's go back to what you just said.
Okay. Show and tell.
Yeah, I forgot now. I was so focused on my question. Shoot. Can you go back and pick that up again?
Yeah. You're right, because 2012
for
yeah, 2024 was
no, I'm just saying like 2024. I said to you, do you feel like it's different? Because I had a follow-up question for it. And well, you just kind of already addressed it. So we're above that telepathy.
I've shifted that.
But okay, let me go back. I'll just try to frame it up this way. From my experience, which is not right or wrong, it's only my experience. And as I sit here with my sister with the intention of expanding as a group, anyone that's watching this now or later, whatever the case is, and certainly you and I, the feel, and I think feeling, because that's what kind of triggered me, and not triggered me in a bad way, but kind of went, oh, boom. And what you were talking about a little bit earlier. But there seemed to be an air in those 12 years of do this and we get there. And when we get there, everything's cool. And my feeling
we get rewarded finally.
Yeah, we're good. Everything's fine. Nobody fucks with you. But my thing is, but like it feels to me like, and I'm just trying to grasp, I'm grasping that, furthering the discussion off of what you're talking about. It feels like, yes, we have come out on the other side. And it's not that everything's not all right. It's just that we don't know how it works. we know us better. We have more awareness with the universal relationship. But
Hmm.
how do we operate? How do we create? How do we continue and expand and so on and keep this momentum going
Yeah.
with the echoes within ourselves and in the collective, looking for that easy way out, basically. You know what I mean? Like the savior syndrome, you know what I mean? It's no different than the big boogeyman syndrome, you know what I mean? But so do you feel like it's different now? I'm not trying to lead you in any way, but on a very personal level, because to me that for
Oh
me
yeah,
makes
I feel
most
like
sense. Do you feel
I've
like
totally transformed.
do you feel like do you feel like that significant parts of you died?
Yes.
Like
Oh
how?
yeah. I feel like a whole like even my monkey mind has stopped, you know. And a lot of the like different pains that I was carrying in my whole being, that's all gone. Um and the part is I've been try and figure out how did I actually get make all that happen? Is it because of all the work I've done in the past? Is it because of what's happening in a collective universal level at the moment? Is it because of the work that I've done in the last month doing a self-healing portal on my heart, and so I've cleared it myself with doing that, which with a daily practice. Um, yeah, I think it's probably a combination of all different things. But I think, as a collective, we are expanding out, and so we can fully be in our divine purpose without any other distraction, whether it be, metaphysical, person, energetic. It's just so we can, yeah, be and do what we're supposed to do without any other distractions, like stepping fully into our divine power.
Yeah.
I think, like, eliminating the suffering within ourselves and the collective. Like, well, that's a huge part, I think, of what was going on last year as well, because I'm clairsentient, clairaudient. So I feel a lot of the collective feel. So it was just like it was just an energetic purging, a sadness that, that I had to ride last year. But then now I've cracked out of it once and for all, and it cleared all the other hurts and heartache of grief and stuff in my past timelines. And now I think I'm ready for action, ready to
What
be of
about
service
thank
threefold.
you for engaging me in this conversation. Because
Yeah.
I feel like I'm talking to myself. These are the conversations I have with myself. Um,
No,
so it's 2025, January. No, February 1. It's February
yeah,
1.
thank God.
Um,
No more January.
right. In as I look back for the
January
really the
done.
first
Done.
for the as I look back for the first time inspired by this conversation and in trying to find how this works to create, because it's all energy, open
Mm,
heart, this purest intention I can have, the true innocence, true genuine, just trying to be the part of us that we all feel that brought us all together. If I
yeah.
look back the 12, 13 years, I would say, to kind of like preface this topic,
Hmm.
um, I know the levels of downloads that I received, and in talking with others for so many years on the show, old show, how it was for them. It it makes it makes total sense that it was a challenge to the ego. The ego is not a bad word. Uh, Part of what I'm feeling on this other side, in addition to I don't know what the hell I'm doing and I don't know anything,
Mm,
is perhaps the most difficult things for me to let go of are those things that maybe differentiated me from others as we were all going through this period, this 12 years, from 2012. Identities, even identity as Soulgy, as I've said in the last couple of days for myself. I'm only saying this as an example.
yeah.
So I don't know if the topic, what exactly what the topic is, but I might pose a question like this. Are we to let go of anything and everything that we've received right up to this point to step into that space that you so kindly stepped in with me tonight, which is to walk into a space like, what are we going to do? Da, da, da. I don't know. I don't know. We're just going to show up and start talking. Are we to let go of it all?
I think so, and just come back to divine trust. I think, yeah, yeah, definitely letting go of it all in you're talking about energetic, metaphysical, and material, like the whole
I'm
kit
talking,
kaboom, everything.
oh, okay. Well, for me, it's like this.
Yeah.
And again, I'm grasping. I'm not saying I have it down. I'm trying to create, or initiate or be a part of some kind of expansion for all of us, myself.
Hmm.
But I see it kind of like this. Everything's a yin yang. And there's a
Yeah.
human part of us, a human part of us. Let's say the yin yang is the human, the soul, okay? That is dying, is dying, it's it's leaving. And at the same time, there's another part that's coming in that was a human we couldn't see, to include the connection it has to our multidimensionality, et cetera, et cetera.
Your
But
highest light on the left,
yeah,
your
yeah.
highest
But
self. Yeah.
yeah, or our highest understanding or wisdom or love. But it seems to me that the what's the word? The highest probability, and this is just my um, perspective, the highest probability of the highest code lies in the pure humans, experience, download, process, understanding, application,
Yeah.
into, you know what I mean? Um,
That's what I've got to
and
be doing.
and
No more
and
hiding.
well, that's what I was going to ask you. I was
That's
going to
what
be
it's all
like,
about.
okay, so
Yeah.
doing that, letting those identities go that occurred for us, let's say after the first wave of awakening 2012, let's just say that. How difficult was it to let go of those things? What did it feel like?
So what was the question again? Sorry.
So, like, as we wake up, we get certain
Mm.
identities, and all of our, and I think you can feel I'm saying this with an open heart because I can see
Yeah.
yours. Okay. So,
Yeah.
as we were getting downloaded, we had these magnificent personal experiences, and some involve, elementals and angels, and they're all real and they're all true, right? But they were meant to wake us up, and then everything that
Hmm.
came with it, the light language, the channelings, the intel, etc., and so it just blossoms and blossoms. But then we come across this line, and the wave comes in and takes everything out, and we're standing on the other side, and I think maybe our souls say we made it, but our human goes, what the fuck just happened? And through in the middle of that somewhere, I had to let go of Sology. I had to let go of Todd, the conscious rapper. I had to let go of Todd, the rah rah guy, and this and that. And you had to do the same things, and many others are having to do the same things.
Hmm.
So, where does that leave us? Um, to be constructing a new earth that we all talk about. Um, but we're having to do it at the same time we're um, I wouldn't say constructing our new self, but realizing who we are. You know what I mean? I mean, this is where I'm at
Yeah, that
in
makes sense
terms,
to me. Yeah.
but like where are we? I mean, we've seen enough
Big
narratives on
transitional
what
times.
got us here, right?
Mm.
And I think where I was getting to, and I'm going to stop now, is for you. And I wouldn't think that you'd even thought of it because I'm thinking of a lot of this stuff right now as we're talking, because I think that's where the power is in the moment. But as in your personal experience, um, how did that go? Because we know now that it's not all fluffy love and light, but we also know it's not all doom and darkness.
Yeah.
And it's kind of hard to explain what's happening. So take the floor and just go with it for the next 20 minutes. And then we'll have a 30-minute review.
Hmm. The human experience. It's I just don't know where to begin. But yeah, everything that you said totally made sense to me, because I know that everything's being, it's like being sped up in a NutriBullet, and everything's just fizzling out what we no longer need, and the water in the NutriBullet's like getting clearer virtually. So we're just getting rid of all the energetic debris that no longer is us and who we used to be in our identities. Being in, even though I probably wouldn't want to admit it, but I was probably stuck in my pain body for so long. But yeah, I don't know where to begin with the human experience. Like in 2012, which you've mentioned many times, that's when I first started to study transpersonal counselling at Phoenix Institute in Melbourne. So that was with my first introduction to, say, sound healing, past life regression, all of that kind of stuff. And it was a school with all lots of like-minded souls, which that was a huge, big thing for me. It was like going into like a Hogwarts kind of school. The people
All
with,
the weirdos and all the crazy people.
yeah,
But no, there's truth. Like,
the
I think what
motley
you're saying,
crew, the mediums,
yeah.
all the psychics, the other ones that see the spirits, and we're like, oh, we can swap all the stories that
I
we
think what you're
usually used to
saying
keep to
is
ourselves.
I think what you're saying is from an energetic level, a soul level, soul perspective,
Yeah,
you had an experience, and it's interesting because Morgan's a transpersonal, or she went through transpersonal counseling. It was like, or not counseling, but teaching, or same thing you
yeah.
did for like 2 years, and kind of describe the same experience. A group of people that all came together with the same intention and openness, and a lot of amazing things happened. Did a lot of amazing things happen when that occurred to you?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And yes, like, I mean, one eclipse that a group of us went to go and see, that was my first introduction. Well, my first introduction that I can remember to extraterrestrials. We went to go camping one night, and we were looking at the stars, and there was a whole big cluster of stars, and then they all started to like zip around. And we weren't drinking, weren't smoking any funny stuff, all completely sober, probably a couple of
What year
rollies
was
of
this?
tobacco. That's about it.
What year was this?
Dandenong Ranges in Victoria, in
No, no.
Australia.
What year was
When?
this? Yeah, yeah, like around what year?
Um, it may have been 2012.
Okay, I got you. I got you.
Either would have been the year
Keep
that I
going.
started at Phoenix
Yeah.
Institute, or it would have been with a group of those same people like 12 months later.
Yeah.
But when we saw all the stars, it was zipping around like that. Plus, I'd had many other experiences prior to that to let me know there's a lot more to this human
Oh,
experience
you
than meets
left
the
all
eye.
that part out.
Yes, I did.
But that's part of the point. I think these things that have happened to us, we did spend a lot of time talking about the uniqueness and the fantastic aspect of it. But I think we can all kind of say, you know what? We're all here right now. And
Mm.
you know what I mean? Like it's almost like this, where anything you can do, I can do. And anything I can do, you, you can. We just have got there yet. You know what? A lot of since 2012, a lot of code in between the lines.
Yep. Have you frozen? Do a little bit, do the wave. Oh no, you're back. You were sort of
Is that right?
doing the morphing.
Mhm.
You're right. You're right. Yeah, there's almost like too many different interesting things that have gone on in the timelines, all lots of positive, amazing things that have, allowed me to see a lot, see beyond the veil and see that there's a lot more to life than this. So yeah, 2012 was a very important year, I think, for a lot of us, that we were, you know, divinely guided once again to meet up more with like-minded crew to talk about our spiritual gifts, and then to experience more things together, you know, individually and then in group settings, just to, you know, continually to prepare us for, you know, what is to come, and all the different events that continue to happen throughout the human experience. Yeah, past life regression, that was an amazing thing. And the introduction to sound healing. I love working with sound frequency, because I think that's one of the big things that comes and goes from people's the collective sort of reality. But I'm hoping that's going to make it's going to come back. It's going to be coming back big time, with a lot of healing coming back with, yeah, sound and frequency, and not just instruments and organic sounds and tones, but actual people themselves with their voice. They are the instrument with their tone. So I feel
Do you,
that's happening in time as well. There's going to be people that are be it's already begun. I've seen it's already started. But then people get their own kind of groups and going to sacred sites and admitting and singing and doing different sounds to expand the planet in different ways as a group harmonic healing frequency.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's important.
Earlier you said the last 2 months, and then you made a reference, something like all the stuff that's happened. I don't know if we're going to get into it all.
Yeah.
Remember? And I was wondering if you were speaking of the external world stage, so to speak, or yourself personally, or both.
Well, I'm very, as yourself and Morgan are, very connected into what goes on collectively, which I will feel and experience in my own field. Even though I'm anti the television and all that kind of stuff, I still feel it energetically. So, you know, I am a channel of stuff. So it all comes through me, whether I'm aware of what's going on out there or not. Because sometimes I purposely I can't, like, I'm too overly sensitive. Sometimes I can't deal with that. It was, I know that all, you know, there's way too many things that go on the planet. It's almost getting a bit out of control, but we knew this was all going to happen.
Let me ask you this about this time period, okay? Because I think you just said something that many people, if not like 89 or 95% that are listening or that will listen, in regard to being an empath. So if the atmosphere has changed, and we know it has, whether it changed, like we reached the halfway point after 2024 or not, we all know every month it gets faster, time moves faster, but it's slower. I mean, there's all these anomalies, there's all these things, and it takes everything we can just to stay on point as we move to a greater and greater presence and unity. But for you, like, what's the evolution been? Because I know in 2012, 13, 14, 15, there was a lot of empath support groups talking about, I can feel all this, I can feel all this. And then the intel came in over a few years that everybody shared, which is basically, hey, we don't have to be a prisoner or submissive to this, or, you know, afraid of this. We can actually work with this, and we can start to integrate it and not manipulate it, but work in equilibrium with it.
Alchemize.
But I've never really had the resonance, in the sense that I could feel it as deep as I heard people talk about it. It feels like you do. How was that journey for you? And where does it stand now? Are you able to go into, like, you know, public places, a mall or whatever the case is, and that energy be at bay. There'd be like an equilibrium, like a medium, like a 0 point field where,
Mm.
all the energies go where they need to go and you go where you need to go. How's that
Yep.
been for you?
Um, well, it has been interesting. Like I think since the in the last 5 years, I stopped going to big crowded venues, especially because we couldn't anyway. Um, and in the last 13 months, I did a year off alcohol. I did a challenge to myself, just not drink for 12 months. And that's still going. So I'm into my 13th, now 14th month of that. Um, and yeah, it hasn't been appealing to me to go into any kind of alcohol venues, not because I'm the drinking aspect. Like drinking doesn't bother me. Like it's the energetics. Um, However, I do know three very good things that I do before I even just go down the street. That's helped immensely. And that was from, a friend of mine taught me these things. And he said, you say Christic shield up 4 times before you leave the house. And you say shields on full 4 times. And then you say nothing gets in 4 times. And
And
that has made a huge difference because at the end of each day, I'd always say, before that, I'd say, give all the energy back up to the universe, transmute it back into love. My whole body would usually it would jolt, like boom. And then I'd ask for my energy to be returned. And then I'd jolt again. And I'd be like, whoa, that's big. And then since doing these 3 different mantras, I actually don't jolt anymore. Like I'm good.
mm,
And I also realized because my auntie actually invited me to go to the Australian tennis when I was back in Melbourne. And I was like, that'd be good, but I probably got about a 2 hour limit in a big crowd. I got about a 2 hour limit because you have to alchemize and transmute and do all that kind of stuff, constantly. So, I got about a 2 hour limit, but I was there for 5 hours. And I was quite surprised that I did my usual things, but I had an extra thing. I actually brought a rosemary beads with me, and I saged them beforehand for extra protection of all my energetics, and I wore it underneath what I was wearing, and that actually I was able to extend it to 5 hours. And then I had to run away like Cinderella. I
would
said,
you
"Okay, I'm going to go," and then
would
off
you
I went.
say I'm
Mm.
curious. I'm curious. Would you say that for you, for me, for anybody, that um hmm, let me phrase this because I mean this with no judgment whatsoever.
Yeah, yeah,
I mean it like to find out, right?
yeah.
What is the most important thing? Our belief in the modality or method, or the method or modality. You
I
know what I
believe.
mean?
I believe.
Right. And maybe that's why some people can be vegan and be healthy as hell, and some people can be carnivore and be healthy as hell. You know what I mean? Like it's almost like,
Mm.
um, yeah, exactly.
And I think
What
when
I
you say
just said.
so, it is. It's like a command too. It's like this is happening. So you're right in the way of it being a very very strong belief, or like I'm putting the shields on and this is happening. It's a
Mm,
command. It's not a that'll be nice or I wish to kind of thing. It's a command to your higher self on your left hand side. That's how I see it.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, I have learned in the way of how the universe doesn't decipher, you know, it doesn't get sarcasm or
It
different
doesn't?
tones, because you know how tones of voice can mean different
Mine
things.
does. I don't know about yours. Mine
Yeah.
does. Mine has since I woke up or rewoke or whatever.
Oh, really?
Well, the sarcasm isn't like mean and like, out of balance. It's more like funny, like a shaman, you know.
Oh, yeah. I
Like where you get tested and it's laughable because you took it too serious, which is basically the same
oh, yeah. No, I agree with you
the
there in
same
the
thing we're
way.
looking at now because I mean
Yeah.
we could take we talk about the external. We could take the war too seriously. We could take this nationalism too seriously, or racism, or culturalism, or whatever, or genderism, or sexual preferenceism, or pronounism. And
Mm,
even within ourselves, we can do that. We can get carried away. We have these loops that go around in our heads
mm,
about some imaginary timeline that's really powerful, because thoughts are powerful. And so now it it feels like something's working with us.
mm-hmm.
If and it's not like, oh, you better do it or not, but it's like there's something happening that those things are kind of like fading, which sounds weird because of two things. One, because of the
No, that makes
expanding
sense. I
distort.
know what you're saying.
Yeah, you know what I mean? But like, for two reasons. One, because of like the expanding distortion of the collective movie script. And
Yep.
two, because of the expansion of our consciousness embodied in awake and alert, the rate of the rate of speed, the rate of content, the rate of not even, I don't even know what the hell's going on here, but something is getting better and better and better. And I don't mean that to like say, oh, there's nothing wrong. I just mean it like, you know, to hold on to it. And I believe you and many people like that listen to these types of things have been holding on to it for years and years and years, or we wouldn't be here. Sorry about the rant.
No, you're right. I mean, it has definitely been coming through as well in a lot of the way of because I think there's been we've everybody on Earth has been through quite a lot, and what I've found is coming through recently is that we're here to once again to lighten the load, to bring back the fun, the play, the joy, and yeah, not to take things so seriously, you know.
Yeah,
Um,
I agree.
yeah.
I really agree with that. I mean, I
I mean,
no,
I
really.
know our guys and things kind of like they do crack jokes and they've got a great personality. But with the sarcasm thing, I'm just like when you're doing a command or if you're asking like God to help you with something, going straight to the main man, you know, I would definitely cancel out sarcasm
Well,
in that way, in
I
that
don't mean
regard.
sarcasm for me at all, but I
Yeah.
just speak to them the way they
But I
speak
think
to me.
sarcasm is a great
But
sense of
I mean,
humor,
like,
makes me
it's
laugh.
almost like,
But when you
it's
do
almost,
commands, I wouldn't do it.
you know how it is when, do you have children?
No,
Do you
I
have any
don't.
Okay. So yeah, little kids, right? Little
I got
kids.
niece and nephew.
But you know how when a little kid gets really upset
Yeah.
and starts crying, and you as an adult, and let's just say metaphorically speaking, from a higher band of frequencies, higher
Hmm.
dimension, whatever you want to call it, understands that what they're upset about is nothing. It's nothing. It's beautiful and sincere and innocent and genuine, their emotional, pure expression.
Yeah.
But it's nothing to get worked up about. And I feel like that's part of what this other side is where it's fruitless, it's futile to spend time in those, like we were talking about 2024, it's spiraling, but it felt like it was going like this. It felt like
Yeah.
it wasn't moving up.
Yeah.
And it's like that, like that part of it going away. Um, and then being based with yourself or with myself in relation to me, and there's no other way out of it.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Like you and I interacts at a certain point, and I, I'm rude, or I ruffle your feathers, or it triggers something in you. We're actually getting to a point where it doesn't matter what happens out there. It's all me. I
Mm.
can alter this, you know what I mean? Versus you need to change. Like this is the
Yeah.
kind of stuff that I'm feeling and seeing out there,
Oh
like,
yeah,
wow,
radical
what's gonna happen?
self-responsibility.
Yeah, what's gonna happen?
It'd be great if everybody jumped on board that train.
Well, I mean, I think it's like, it's, to me, it's more like what's going to happen as each person does that,
Mm,
as each person stops talking about it and just actually does it. Say, you know what? This doesn't feel good to me. Doesn't make sense. I don't have any money. I'm going to have to move out. I'm going to be homeless, or, whatever their case, whatever their situation is. And goes, you know what? I'm going to choose the soul. And simultaneously, it serves equally in the Trinity, right? But so my thoughts are more like, wow, what happens when we do that? Because it's not like you have to have a movement. It's simply a personal, not simply, I don't mean to throw shade on it, but it's like, it's a personal decision. It's
mm.
so much like a faith beyond hope, beyond surrender, where you say, you know what, I'm going to align or own or be that which made me. You know what I mean? Like and that's a weak attempt. I'm just trying to say that,
Oh no,
has it come
that's a
down
good
to that?
example.
But has
And
it, but has
yeah,
it come down to that where we just don't even have to talk about it? We can actually make that choice and do it.
I hear.
I don't know. I
I,
mean,
I am making big changes this year. I'm actually planning on, um, in reflection of what you just said then about taking, the radical responsibility. I did decide last year that, um, at some point this year, hopefully within the next 3 months, I'm going to be relocating away from this environment because this environment no longer serves me at all and hasn't for a very long amount of time. Like if you ask Morgan what Surface Paradise is like, she'd be like, "Wow, it's like 6th Street in Austin." Um, and I was there in April, and I was like, "Oh my god, this is like Cavill Avenue. This is." I was like, "Oh, it feels very familiar," but I was like, "Oh no." It doesn't excite me. I wasn't drinking and they're trying to lure me in there with margaritas. I'm like, nope, even though I love margaritas. But I was like, not having one. I'm having a year off alcohol. You can't get me in there with my free favorite drink. Cowboys with guns doesn't excite me. But yeah, I'm relocating. I'm taking the radical responsibility and I'm moving to where my soul has been screaming at me to be for a long amount of time. Since I was there last, which was 12 months ago, and that was in Bali, um, to be, yeah, on the ground, in nature, in the rainforests, and yeah, just take two. And that's where I'm supposed to be, on the land. So then I can expand and then be in service to people on a bigger scale when I start doing different things. The plan is to, yeah, work in retreats and then down the track have my own healing center and retreats to
mm,
assist people with their own healing journeys. But that's going to be a huge transition, and but I'm prepared. I'm ready to do it because I know I just, yeah, this environment is. I've done my bit. I've raised the vibes here for the last few
so,
years. I've
so
done my
many,
bit. I'm about to like give my backwards peace sign and head
so
to the
many
rainforest.
to the rainforest.
Yeah,
So many people, and I'm speaking in present tense, recent past.
yeah,
Uh, if you talk to them about what they're doing or what are your dreams or so have you, it's very similar to what you just said. And I feel that from a metaphorical or energetic standpoint, that's relevant. If we're all wanting to create community and essentially an environment of what, from the old perspective, we call healing,
mm,
then that says it must be coming into the fold. Um,
yeah,
so that would be, it's all, to me, it's, again, I'm just grasping here, but it's like if the feminine energy, and this would include the disconnection from females in form and males in form, it's
Hmm.
really landed on this planet and it's really grounded through all of our efforts, all of us, then that would mean that the intuitive level of information and guidance would be applied in the physical, right? And so that would lend to people, I've asked them, what are your dreams? And they basically say the same thing you're saying. Well, if that's what we all want to do, and we know that all of us would want to do it without even getting paid, if we could do
Yep.
that and be comfortable and eat, you know what I mean, have a roof over, and be comfortable, we would do it till the day we died. It's a fact. And so
Yep.
that energy is not about breakaway civilizations or UAPs or drones or fires or this or that or weather made and all the different things that are a part of this, but they're not the part of this, right? So I just think that maybe this feeling that we want to do this or this desire that we want to do this is actually going to um, um, manifest. Um, you know what I mean? Like the more we give to it, the more that we say, okay, maybe this is bigger than war, right? As opposed to these movements and legislation and funding. And no, it's right here, isn't it? I
Yep.
mean, that if we came here to deliver any message,
Facts.
any one of us, is that not well, really the thing that we can, quote unquote, control the most, can have a say in the most
Hmm.
is us. I can't speak for you. You can't speak for me, right? It's weird. It's weird. It's like, oh, we're in the greatest time ever in the multiverses, and it comes down to the human beings' full presence, 100%, and faith and hope and love and honor and respect in their own power. Wow. That's like mind F. You know what I mean? That's like, whoa, are you serious? No, really. Really. We've talked a lot about this stuff probably since the 90s with New Age, the New Age movement. But are we doing it? Hmm.
Yeah, I think it's about, as everybody levels up on their own energetic stuff, it ricochets and assists everybody else
Yeah.
around them, which then it helps the collective and the whole planet in general. So
Very true.
yes,
Very,
it's a beautiful domino effect.
yeah, that's very true. It's a very contagious other mathematical, other geometrical pattern. It's like the Trinity, or it's like the origin, or something. It's something because
Mm.
in the old, like 1+1 = 2, but in this, it's like 1+1 = 3, 6, 9. And, you have a whole different. So at some point we would have to or have crossed the 50% mark. Do you feel that we've crossed the 50% mark in terms of the energetic field of the earth, old earth, new earth, whatever earth?
I feel that we have, considering, um, how I feel within my body. I think that's a big telltale sign. Um, if it was still as disordered as it was last year, I think I'd still be feeling that.
Mm.
Um, so yeah, I think it has. It's immensely changed, and it will continue to. Um, and I think a lot of our jobs are now is to, now that we've broken out of these different shackles that we've had within ourselves, to share the gifts with other people and to help assist other people, on their path if they so choose, and for them to remove their own barriers and to get their gifts out there as well, to start
Yeah.
helping everybody, really. No more hiding for anybody.
It's wild though, isn't it? It's like no matter what we present, that's what I think Facebook was such a great gift for. potential for everybody through the relationship of, or the development of our ego, even
Yeah.
is to be in a place where as the consciousness expanded and the awareness expanded and the integrity and everything goes with it, what you present versus what you are, right? Like what you present versus what you are. It's, people bitch a lot about it, but it's also been a great opportunity to figure our way out. And I would say, like, finally, there's this, you've heard people talking about getting off of Facebook, and you've seen it for 6 months, 9 months, 12 months, and maybe they come back, back and forth, but something's happened. It's not what it was. Other social media is not what it was. There's some kind of transformation that's touching everything. And we still have let's see, the opportunity to express in a new way using the old and the new. And that's kind of how I feel where we're at too. Like, where's the new stuff? I don't want to watch podcasts anymore, nothing, taking nothing away from anything because it's all relevant. Disclosure, conspiracy, and believe me, I believe conspiracies. You know what I mean? But like,
Oh yeah.
even
I've
like
delved so
galactic,
much into that
even
as well.
yeah, but even things
I
like
hear.
that are
I'm stick a
like
fork in me. I'm
galactic.
done.
Say that.
I'm like, stick a fork in me. I'm done going down all those rabbit holes and all the
But
rest.
but
From
even
from
but
like,
even
yeah, I was
yeah, but
like,
even like the galactic, and I'm not taking anything away. Don't strike me down and
mm,
blasphemy, but like Galactic Federation, other narratives,
yeah,
whatever,
that's
Lemuria.
nice side Galactic
This is
Federation.
all. It's all us now. It's all us now. That's how I
Yeah.
feel, and it feels weird, and I don't have any answers, and I'm having a conversation, doing the best I
Mm,
can, and making a fool of myself. But the thing is, I feel like that this is not limited to me.
I hear. No, it makes sense, and then that's why I've gone back to God, to Yeshua. I was like, I wanted to just cancel all that noise out. Really, to me,
Mm.
it went from like, you know, such high curiosity, and for many, many, many years, deep delving into all of that stuff, and connecting in huge ways myself. To then the last 12 months, just going, it's now become just noise to me. All that information has just become sort of a distraction and noise. And I was all about trying to cancel out any type of excess noise that I didn't need to deal with. And then that's why I went back to Yeshua, God himself. I'm like, he's the main man. That's all I need. I don't need all these extra
Where's the woman?
things, or extra information, or all these kind of shenanigans. I was like, let's just cancel it all out.
Yeah.
Like, it's been fun. Thank you. Grateful. Loved it.
So so
But now it's like, let's just hone it back in, shall we?
is it
Back to the main
is
man,
another way
JC.
is it is a way to
Mm,
surmise what you're saying. I'm not saying they're your exact words, but um
mm,
and it's me, it's you, it's all of us speaking, whatever coming through me. Um is because what you're talking about is basically simplifying everything, bringing it down to the infinite simplicity that it is. But
mm.
from the human perspective, making the transformation or the de-evolution or whatever you want to call it, um, maybe it comes down to something as simple as, how do you feel about your mother? How do you feel about your father? How much do you love yourself on a scale of 1 to 10? That's that's where I'm going, is like, for all the searching and seeking and downloads and everything that we've had,
Mm.
have we forgotten the human being? Um, yeah, questions, you know what I mean, or importance, or part of it. If it's not, if it's the centralized place where all these multidimensionalities meet and we have amnesia, et cetera,
Mm.
there must be one hell of a code within that space if we look to honor, accept, embrace that part of us, which for so many of us, me included, has been parts of us we don't want to look at, whether it's conscious or not. It seems
Gotta get the
mundane,
shovels
but
out.
yeah.
Yeah, lots of deep forgiveness, working with Saint Germain the Violet Flame. Hopo oh no, all that kind of stuff.
I really appreciate you entering this space with me. I do. I don't mean to be imposing on you in any way. I'm basically unraveling and unfolding as we speak. So
Oh,
thank you.
it's so good. Thank you for having me.
Please don't take anything personal.
No, oh good.
But could you imagine? I'm not saying this is the way it is. Could you imagine you as Bella, me as Todd, in our own individuality and our own experience, just me in the universe or you in the universe, because nobody's in that conversation.
Mm.
That could you imagine that the keys to the kingdom are those things that Todd would want to keep concealed from this particular incarnation, regardless of the influence it might have had from the lineage. All right. Could you imagine if those are the keys to the kingdom? Something as human as Bella, did you know I did this? I'm telling you, not as a victim, but just to get it off my chest. Could that be it? I mean, could that be the ultimate paradoxical wisdom of the human experience? Is the last thing we're going to look at or want to look at is the highest potential. Have you broke in the last few months at all? Have you like just went, fuck it, and start crying or letting it out? Has that happened to
Yep.
you? Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, me
Yep.
too. Me too.
Oh yeah. I'll I'll give you dot points. Or should I? I don't know.
Sure. Yeah. Whatever you want to do, whatever you're comfortable with,
I
because
mean,
yeah.
I'm not all love and light. I've never said that I am, and that's always made me laugh when if I crack the shits and if someone who's not even
If you
anyway.
what? If you crack the shits, is that what is that? Crack the shits? I love
Crack
that.
the shit. But
You would
you
think
know,
that would
like
be like a Texan
I
saying.
don't, you know, it's interesting the emotions, like in the way of like I am a cool, calm, and collected person for the most part. I am. And even if I write something fiery on Facebook, I'm not like energetically going like I'm. It's a calm energy.
Hmm,
So if I crack the shits, quote unquote, or have a healthy emotional release, it's for usually an extremely valid reason.
hmm,
And because it happens so rarely, I can pinpoint, when that's happened. And the last time for me was, uh, in the last couple of months, was probably twice.
hmm,
Um, yeah. Trying to communicate to my family different things that were happening because I was back in Melbourne, and they literally couldn't hear me. They couldn't hear the words. They didn't understand what I was trying to say. They couldn't hear me. The communication, like they just couldn't hear me at all. And I was like, wow, like I've always known there's a disconnect, but I was like, I've never seen it to that level of a disconnect before in my life. Like I was like,
yeah.
wow, like they're not in there. Like
They're not in
um
there.
yeah, they're not in it. I was like, what's
but
going on?
but you know what? This is great. This point right here alone is worth the 90 minutes. To me, it is. And there's other
Yeah.
high points. Don't get me wrong. But for
Mm,
all this time, people talked about, and again, taking nothing away from them because we know the downloads we get don't really equate to linear time anyway. Because we've all
mm,
gotten plenty of downloads in year one thinking it's going to happen tomorrow, and it happens 3 years later.
Mm.
But, you know, if as you interact with, okay, they talked about the solar flares. They're going to
Yeah.
come in 2017, 20. The two are splitting. Maybe what you're describing, maybe what it is,
Mm.
maybe is the two are splitting, or two different bands of frequencies separating at the top of that torus
Yeah.
field. As the torus field comes up like this,
Oh
and
yeah.
it's never to be disconnected, but just in the other side of it, right? But I wonder if that's how it goes, because I know I can relate to that. I know Morgan can. I know others that can. Um, and that's pretty weird because it also applies, um, not good or bad, but energetic pressure on the human aspect,
Mm.
right? Like it takes us to a place of what is love? What are my duties? How do I move forth without this guilt and this shame? I should be a better father. I should be a better mother. I should be, you know what I mean? And again, I think there's a good argument that we might be developing the new code through those choices that we make and how we conduct ourselves in these really hard places.
Mm. It was interesting. It was interesting.
I said this 1,000 times, but I know people have read it. But, Ram Dass says, if you ever think you're awakened, go spend 5 days with your family.
Oh.
Right. But it is, but it
Yeah.
is, I mean,
Oh yeah. It was always very challenging. I mean, I stopped watching mainstream TV when I was in 2017. I was like, all right, no more of the idiot box. And because I was house sitting, and then what happened was it was a health scare in December, and yeah, these particular surgeons, they were trying to push me down a very dark lane very quickly,
what do you,
and they were
oh,
diagnosing me.
for you
They were doing all
personally?
sorts of stuff. Very,
Okay.
yeah, yeah,
Okay, gotcha.
yeah. This happened in December,
Okay.
and they were virtually saying, that I had cancer, and I don't have cancer, but they were saying, you've got this. And they said, come in on Thursday, bring someone with you. And they said, and then this surgeon said to me, because a tiny little lump was found in my breast on my left-hand side in
So
front of my heart.
is it, oh, wow. Okay, hang on, slow
Yeah.
down for a second. Thank you for sharing this. Okay. I mean, is this December
Mm.
2024
Yes.
you're talking about? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Can
Yeah.
you um
I dodged two
give us a
dodgy
privilege?
surgeons, two
Yeah, can you give
bullets.
us the privilege of continuing this conversation, and can you interject, because I
Mm.
think it would be helpful and full of code for people.
Mm-hmm.
Because you talked about, going with your family, we can relate to that. And there's like these two realms. You know what I mean? You can
Oh
pop in
yeah,
this one,
this was all
but
divinely orchestrated. This is
right.
what snapped me out of the lower timelines. God was like, okay, she needs assistance. Let's make some big things happen. So it's like he put me in a lucker band and he slang me backwards, and he's like, boom,
So
off you go.
as you were
Yeah,
going through this since December,
yeah,
can you kind of interject, if you could, your energetic or soul perspective?
yeah.
Because as you were talking about it, I thought, oh my God, you just went through this? Like, no wonder the last 2 months, right? Right in
Mm.
line with the energy. So how did it go?
It was full on. It was a combination of like, you know, and I was trying to unpack in my own head. I'm like, are these things separate, or is it all the same? Like in the, the Phoenix Rising, a hero's
Yeah.
journey, a dark night of the soul, and it's also another huge spiritual awakening. Like you don't just have one. It's just like it's like God, Yeshua pulled me back in a like a band and went, okay, here we go. Just let me go. Because with these surgeons, they were very bad. My whole body was saying no to who they were, and they were trying to push me down a dark lane. And another surgeon was saying to me before I even had a biopsy, he said to me, I'm going to be cutting out your lymph nodes in your armpits. I'm going to be cutting this, this, and this, and telling me all these different parts of my body's going to cut out. And I was like, wow. And then I had all these other past trauma things come back up again in the way of even just me being under in the presence of these two male surgeons. I was like, that does not sit well with me at all. I mean, I know the average person probably doesn't like that, but the work that we do and all the rest of the jazz was like, no. It's a very multi-layered thing, but
No,
it
you're
was
doing fine. You're doing
huge.
fine. I don't think
Oh, thank you.
anybody's gonna have a problem with what you're saying. So,
And my family, because I went to house sit, and then because of this went on, they said I had to cancel the flight and stay with them longer, and I wanted to fly home. They they didn't hear me. They didn't understand what I was saying. They didn't hear what these two surgeons were trying to push me down, cancer lane pretty much. I was like, wow, how easily do people get led down the garden path? Like, I was like, this is phenomenally dodgy. But the parents didn't hear or understand any of that. And so their response to what I was trying to say was just pure anger, a lot of anger. So I was copying that and then trying to figure out what's going on with my health at the same time, and then not wanting anything to mess with my heart, because I'm constantly doing things to clear it, open it, heal it, activate it.
so
you
you're
know,
you're you're treating yourself, you're self-treating yourself as part of it,
I was,
energetic
yeah,
from an energetic basis the whole time it's
yeah,
going on. Okay.
yes,
And
yeah. So
does that diminish, I don't know what the right word is, but like say diminish the fear of your human aspect? What role does that play, or how often does that come out?
it did it assisted in huge ways. It helped me eliminate a lot of fears, and of course I just eliminated those two surgeons completely.
Right,
Like, my whole body was
right.
saying no to them before I'd even met them in person.
Mm,
And then when I met them in person, it was like the whole body was like, no. And then what they were saying was like, oh, no, no deal. Um, and then that wasn't heard. And my family was still trying to push me to go with them. So this was
mm,
this huge battle that was going on.
mm.
And then I decided, before we knew what this lump was, that I'm just going to do a self-healing portal on myself for a month. Because,
Okay.
yeah,
So,
getting lumps and bumps down's my speciality. So I was like, all right, I'm going to do my best work on myself. Let's go. And it's actually good that it was on my near the heart, because as I was doing these clearings and doing psychic surgeries and things on myself, because I do cosmic Reiki on clients, haven't done that for a long time, but I do psychic surgeries and different things. I was actually every day cleaning, clearing, and detangling and cutting cords and clearing and opening and activating my own heart every day for a
mm,
month, that I actually unblocked all the past, well, yeah, a lot of the past stuff, and freed myself from it all.
how are you doing now in all regards, physically in all regards?
Yep. Well, I did actually, I didn't want to get a biopsy, and I did get one in the end, because in my heart of hearts, I was like, it's a cyst. I don't believe it's the other thing. I've never believed it. I've programmed my mind to that not to even be a thing in my timeline. I've realized I actually used to say a particular sentence so it didn't make it possible in my future. Um, and yeah, so I got a biopsy, and it came back, it was a cyst about a week ago. So I'm in the clear. And so I just booked a ticket and flew back home, back into the
Wow.
safety of my own environment.
Wow, that's wild. If you look at the energy of what you just described, being away from your home base, from your nest, right?
Mm.
Going into the old with your families in that environment energetically, it would be there. And then having this happen,
It was
having
big.
the, yeah, yes, it was. Yes, it is. It is. And I think there's so much code in here. I've got something to say about that. But I mean, like, and then to have the conscious awareness and presence with yourself to follow the feeling, for the best word I can come up with, the feeling of
Mm.
the composite of all your bodies, to include your physical. You're not just using the physical as consciousness, you're using all your bodies. And then to come out of it, I've been doing this type of thing for a long time, as everybody knows. And I got to say that I've heard a lot of people channel different aspects over the years and such. But to me, I think we hit on something tonight. This is as powerful or more powerful a channel than I've ever been witness to in my work. And it's pure
Ah.
human
Mm.
multidimensionality. You hear me again, it's pure human multidimensionality. It's so human, so human. I mean, it's real. And you are brave for even talking about it. I had no idea. Thank you for trusting me in this conversation, because I know it's a little bit different even for me. And
Yeah.
but yeah, I can see the light, so to speak. And thank you for sharing these codes and going with the flow.
Thank you.
Mm,
Yeah, I wasn't sure if I was going to share that either. I was going to keep it on the download. I'm like, I think I need to talk about it.
yeah,
Even though it was kind of uncomfortable and I was like, oh, am I going to get emotional? Don't want that to happen. But I was able to talk about it.
yeah. See, and that to me is that contagious aspect that's a little bit different than other dimensions and maybe memories, because there's this physical, heavy, dense physical that's
Mm.
really the same thing, right? And and the potential there to make these alchemical transformations, transmutations, whatever you want to call it. And as we witness that, it will it will ignite those that witness it, and then back and forth and back and forth. So I feel like this is 9 shows into this new initiative, that this is the type of um, experience that maybe I'm chasing, or maybe that's appearing on the earth, or maybe I don't know. But I feel like it's not so much the stories and the words, although those are very important. It's the openness and I guess you would say faith of the person putting it out. Because really, I got this today.
Yeah.
It sounds really silly. It's probably going to sound silly. I don't even like using the words 3D and 5D, but it's like the difference between 3D and 5D is trust.
Mm.
And that's it. Trust of
Yeah.
what? Trust of myself, trust of you,
Yeah.
trust of the external, trust of the universe. Like, really, what's the difference?
Divine
Yeah,
trust. Yeah, that
are
comes through
we
as
all
well.
this time? Yeah, right. Like all this time,
Yeah.
are we working on or working towards a place where there's even an element of, there's even a word trust? Like it's not even
Mm.
an,
It
you
would
know what
just
I
be,
mean?
it
It's not
would
even
just
the
be a being.
vocabulary.
It'd be is.
Yeah.
It would just be an is.
Hmm.
Yeah. It'll be an all.
Hmm.
Yeah.
But that's what you
We're
exhibit.
getting closer to it. We're getting closer.
But that's what you
Mm.
exhibit. You through your story of the last 60 days, you
Mm.
exhibit, you allude to and exhibit and speak ultimately what is trust in yourself
Mm.
and your connection to infinite intelligence. I mean, I'm making it small, right? But everything in between.
Yeah.
And what I really love about what's happening or what I feel like is the difference, maybe, is in your story, the human aspect is front and center, right? I mean, you're not bypassing, you're not, leaving your body. You're actually, I'm in my body. This is what happened, and this is what I did.
Mm.
This is what's, that's powerful.
Thank you.
Deep respect, deep respect.
And as difficult as it
Well,
was, I feel like I've been through, as you have as well, like countless dark nights of the soul. We've got the CD,
not
we've got the
like
show
that.
bag, we've got the key ring and the skateboard. All the rewards for the countless dark nights of the soul. But this particular
The
one,
stuffed animals.
oh yeah, the
Yeah.
poster on the wall, the certificates. But
Mhm.
I've never felt more renewed from coming out the other end of this one. Like, this has been the most important. I feel like it's the most important one. Like, it's just
Do you
literally
feel,
this.
let me ask you,
It's broken. I'm broken free from it all.
right.
Thank
Do
God.
you, do you,
Literally and figuratively speaking, there he is. Yeah.
I believe you. Last questions. Do you feel,
Mm,
no right or wrong, I'm just curious. Two things. Do you feel that many other people in their own way absolutely including their physical body in the same,
mm.
let's say, areas, okay, has been happening at the same time? And do you feel that there is a divine feminine connection or correlation?
Yes. The physical aspect, I feel, is coming next to the first part of your question, is the physical aspect. I've been speaking a lot to my body and doing tapping, saying, with the excess weight around the stomach here, saying I don't need that for protection anymore. And so I've cleared the mental part of it in the mental matrix and a lot of the energetics around that. But the physical is the transformational part, which I'm in the process of now. A lot less eating, a lot more liquids, water, coffees.
Yeah.
So that's happening. The physical, you're right, that's in transition now, and
Mm.
I'm going to continue to keep losing weight because I no longer need these layers of protection. And the divine feminine, 100%, absolutely. I have been, calling in and working with, Mother Mary, Mary Magdalene a lot, and I feel this is, a lot of it is the feminine rising. There's nothing to do with feminism or any of that
No,
side
no,
of
I got
things.
you. Yeah.
Yeah, just women feeling completely safe in their femininity to express themselves wholeheartedly in a
Mm.
in an environment where we don't have to guard ourselves anymore or step back and sway back and forth into our feminine and masculine for our own protection, just to feel safe enough just to be. Yeah, just to be.
Damn, that was a boom. That last one was a reel right there. Um,
Was it?
last question, and we'll have to continue this. We've got a lot of people that want to come on, and I want to make it a point to get as many people on that have never been on before, and then go to people for a second time, whether they, way back or like you.
Yeah,
But
I'd love to.
but I want to ask you one thing. It's like a whole other show. Um, as you speak of what's occurring, what you're experiencing, what you're seeing with the feminine,
Mm.
are you gaining any additional sight or experience into your masculine or the masculine in the collective or in general?
Um, I think, yeah, throughout my timeline, even if I'm in a particular place, you can see the way that I've dressed to see that I'm in my masculine, but to be in to protect myself. That's why women go, as you know, from feminine is being your full feminine to swaying back to being in our masculine, is because we need to protect ourselves either consciously or unconsciously. Um, and yeah, I'm hoping, feeling, praying that women, no longer have to start that sway back and forth is starting to dismantle, disintegrate in a way. So women are, starting to get sort of stronger in their femininity with their energetic boundaries, expanding as the masculine can do their jobs, being the divine protectors that they are with big open hearts. Even though women, we can protect ourselves well and truly, but no longer of the swaying, just being just wholeheartedly the feminine. It is starting to arise in the collective, I believe.
I love it. I love it. Okay, I got to ask you one more question. It's a quick answer.
Do it.
And there's no wrong answer. I really believe I really believe code would be it will be in the answer, because I know you represent the human as well as as the rest of your multidimensionality. How much of your field, all bodies considered, all things considered, in your own understanding and awareness, in your relationship with the universe, which is just you and the universe, right?
Mm-hmm.
How, in this human incarnation right now, how much do you feel you're feminine, and how much, and I don't mean feel like, oh, I'm only this much. I mean, how much do you feel you're
Mm-hmm.
feminine, and how much do you feel you're masculine? Is it like 70% feminine, 30%? And that has nothing to do with sexuality. You know, this is strictly
Yeah, yeah,
energy. I'm just curious what a
yeah.
conscious human like you would say to something like that at this stage in the game.
Um, I would say when you first said 70-30, that was my first pondering thought before you'd said 70-30. But yeah, I'd say 70-30, because I know there
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
a way to go, and I do have another testing thing in my timeline in the future, which is really going to put all of this to the test. But I'm going to call in every guide known meant to mankind, and of my they're going to be watching over that one. But currently, yeah, I'd say 70, maybe 70-80.
And I'm not
To
even
be,
saying it has to get to 50-50. I'm just curious as to where things stand, because we've seen a lot of things about masculinity
I
and
almost want
femininity.
to diminish it. I almost want to diminish the masculinity. I just want to be
Hmm.
full. I don't know whether that's just
And
my
maybe
my
that's the way it
personal.
goes. Yeah, maybe that's
Yeah,
the way
no,
it ends up going. I don't know. I mean,
that's what. Yeah.
it's nice to be able to talk to somebody who represents, and it's been a journey for all of us, but the human part of us, to include the human part of us in these discussions, and to be open, uh,
Mm,
and to have a real time conversation. So I wish you the best. Thank you for connecting with me on this 009 show, and
thank you,
blessings of
Tara.
grace and endless gratitude to you and yours. I'll see
Thank,
you the next time we do this.
thank you. Big love to Morgan.